So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Good evening, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Myself and Paddy once again, and it seems like we're here with Big Brother as well because it's never happened to me before. But as soon as I press go live in the stream, there I got a flood of emails saying somebody has gone live on your YouTube stream. So I don't know what's happening. Never in all the times we've gone live, it's never happened, but just happened there. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but what would be For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast if something crazy from a tech point of view didn't happen. Paddy, you made it back. You made it back across the water again in one piece.
It was a long journey. Not gonna lie.
I'd say it was a lot shorter going over than it was coming back.
It certainly was. The only saving grace, I think, is that it was a late checkout in the hotel, so my little hungover head could lie in bed till midday on Sunday. So the day was a little bit shorter than to have to wait for a 6:30 flight and then the 2.5 hour drive when I get off the flight. So you know, it could have been all so different if what we'll get to later on didn't happen, but there you go.
Yeah, look, I suppose we're going to take about 5 minutes just talking about it because nobody wants to relive this on a Wednesday afternoon. It's not a scare at bedtime. We don't want to be talking like that. I have very definite opinions on what happened. Specifically, I just think, look, and we're not here to throw the boot in on anyone, but just from watching the game back again, and I think it's been widely shared on social media as well, that there was two players in particular who I think just got really jittery in that last 10 minutes, and it showed, and little things just happened. And don't think it was a coaching issue or anything like that. I've been accused already today of somebody saying that no matter what would happen, I don't think I would ever say Smith out. That's not the case. Smith didn't kick the ball for the last few minutes, and look, whatever you guys think, you guys can think it. That's absolutely fine. I have my own opinions on it as well, and we can both coexist in this world together. And I think that's pretty fair to say. But we're not going to spend too much time talking about it, Paddy, because it's already been decided on Twitter that you are an unlucky charm since COVID. You are not the man. You're persona non gratis in Villa Park.
It's Paddy's fault that our defenders can't defend the Junior League. Yeah. Figure that one out.
Exactly. We'll just get you to move seat or something. We can't have you not over there. We'll just get you to move seat or something. Compromise. I'm a man of compromise. I always have.
Well, not only did I move seat, I sat in two different stadia for the two games, so every blaming me.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do when people decide to have bloody brain fart in their own box, and manager makes decisions that we wish he didn't do. You know,
yeah.
And I suppose
talk to me about that one. So we're on a roll with Wolves game at the moment. Where do you feel the last 10 minutes went wrong?
Well, from me looking in, and bear in mind, I haven't looked back on it because there's no way in God's green earth am I going to look at that game again. No way. So I watched it from row G behind the goal, watching from to the side of the goal. So to me, Douglas Luiz looked fine. He wasn't putting any stray passes in. He was in all the positions he seemed to be in. To me, it seemed like a decision that was made by the sports scientist before the match that he was only going to play X amount of minutes, and they took him off. To me, and if you go back and look at Man City, who were in the same position as us at the weekend, and their substitution was take off Kevin De Bruyne, put on Fernandinho, close out the game.
Different. I think that's different, but it's okay.
No,
I think it's okay.
No,
too.
And I think if you've got five at the back and you do that, there's no way Wolves are breaking you down. Douglas Luiz has 6 days till the next game. Let him do his rehab and recovery. I thought it was a silly decision to take him off. Buendia had put up his hand. Do you even said to me, "Watch Buendia. He wants to come off."
Yeah,
and that should have been the decision. Buendia off. Nakamba on, shore up the game, 2-0 coasting.
Do you think Nakamba being in there was the reason that we lost that game 3-2?
No, I don't. No.
Right? It's just an interesting question because but I don't think that the substitutions lost us the game. And
but like, I mean,
because I think that
if you weren't looking at the scoreline and you saw the 3 substitutions that were made, the only one you'd question is why was Matty Cash taken off? And the answer is because he was injured. He got a dead leg. Yeah. So you wouldn't question that at all.
And that's it. I don't think he has. I don't think he had many choices in the substitutions he made. And we can speculate. The sports scientists got involved beforehand or whatever, but that's speculation. Dean Smith came out and said the two of them were struggling fitness wise, and we took them off to kind of spruce it up. I think Ashley Young was absolutely anonymous when he came on. Absolutely. Like, people who watch the podcast and know my feelings of playing Ashley Young right back. I think it's a no-go. I don't think he should be left next near it. But look, he wasn't the reason that we conceded a three goal lead either.
No, but all the point I'm making is, to me, that was a premeditated decision by the sports scientist. I'm 99% sure that was the case. He was always going to come off at around that point, and it was after that point that we capitulated. And the only difference I would make is Buendia, for some reason, this man has been itching to get into the team. Yeah. Puts his hand up to come off, and he's not fit enough to last 90 minutes. That's very frustrating for me.
That annoys me more than Douglas Luiz being taken off.
Don't get me wrong. I think he had a very good game. I thought it was one of the best games he played for us. He put in a shift. He put himself about. So there's definitely a player in there. We know there is. But I was very disappointed to see him asked to be taken off. I thought that was a mad decision. But look, we could talk about this one all day. And, we've looked at it from 2 point of views. My point of view is that's what should have happened.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And the other point of view is nobody could argue with the substitutions that were made, because what happened afterwards was just bizarre.
It was.
I'm gonna say one thing before we move on from this game.
I think I know what you're going to say.
No, well, maybe you don't. When January comes around.
No, that's not what I thought what you were going to say.
On the 1st of January, an email needs to go to Swindon Town saying, sorry, but we're recalling Kane Hayden Kessler because we need cover at right back. Yeah. Either that or we buy another right full, which I don't think will happen. So get Kane Hayden Kessler back in there, because I'm not going mad on Ashley Young either. He's fine, but he's not a right back.
He's not a right back. He never has been. Jose didn't trust him at right back. He's played like 25 or 26 games there at right back, but no, it's just not an answer for me. And this isn't me just going two-footed in him because he's played 1 10-minute spell at right back. Go back. I'm on record as saying I don't want to see him at right back. He could maybe go there on a push, but the push is too much for me. I'm not okay with having him right back and Target at left back. It's just too unbalanced. It's too slow for me. That's just my thoughts on it. But I agree with that. I think we need to. I think Matty Cash is putting in some shift. He got a dead leg, and that's fine. He's most likely going to be there for Arsenal this weekend. But when somebody goes off like that, you want to have someone in there. I suppose one of the biggest things for me with this game is that when I actually literally my heart sank. I unlike you, Paddy, I've watched back the last 10 to 15 minutes. I've watched it back about 5 times since. My heart sunk, and it took me about the 3rd time for it to actually sink into me, to see how Axel and Zabi, like when they just put a proper striker up there, he just lost all his bearing. Of positioning. Fabio Silva, and it was Fabio Silva. You wouldn't really mind if it was Jimenez when it went in there, but Silva went in on him, and Silva dragged him left, he dragged him right. There was one situation whereby he went to do Silva, he went to jump into the air, and as if he was going to kick the ball, missed the ball, and Silva put his hand in his back and he fell over. And he got a free for it. And I was like, man, that's a bit of a heads gone situation. I think we were 2-1 up at that stage, but he was just slightly out of position every time. It wasn't anything massive, but he was just slightly out of position. But I was just a bit disappointed in how comfortable he was lest we forget as well, he gave away that ball across the box. He was trying to pass it to McGinn. I can only imagine it was McGinn he was trying to pass it to, but he passed it straight to was it Adama Traore? And then he scored at the start. There was Wang, I think it was, and then he scored at the start. But he was okay all game. I thought he was okay. And then the last 10 minutes, it was like, I don't know what it was, but it was like as if he just suffered a crisis of confidence. And that's okay. And players can do that. And I'm not putting all this at his door. But if you're playing three at the back, you know, it really pulled people out of structure. I saw people online saying as well that, look, Mings didn't have a great game. We can't say if House would have done any better, but you said Mings didn't have a great game. I think Mings' last 10 minutes were better than Tuanzebe's, but probably would have expected a small bit better from him. But he was covering two positions because Tuanzebe was a small bit out of position as well. Look, I think it was just a freak result, Paddy. It was a freak result. Like we go 2-0 up, and I'm watching it on TV, and the commentator says Villa have never won.
I don't agree that it's a freak result. A freak result is,
isn't it? How don't you?
If they bang in 3 screamers from 35 yards, that's a freak result. It was just out and out shite defending. There's no other explanation.
But no, well then in that a deflected free kick that whereby there was we could talk about the laws of the game. I thought you were going to talk about referees a moment ago. Like referee misses Ollie Watkins being pulled at the back post. That's a freak. Yeah. That's a freak situation. The deflection for the free kick at the end. That's a freak situation. He hits a shit free kick. Like that. His free kick was it was a rubbish free kick, and it clips off someone's heel and goes in the bottom corner. Like whatever about John McGinn's goal. John McGinn's goal, yes, it did take a deflection, but it was a rasper of a shot. You know, it wasn't a bad shot. Yeah. And it was on target as well. But and that's what I'm talking about, a freak result. There was just a couple of things there, and it was bad defending. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not banishing anyone from blame. It was really bad defending, but there won't be too many times that any team in the Premier League will give up 3 goals in the last 10 minutes, probably for the rest of the season. And we're just the dopes that it happened to. And I mean, I don't mean dopes in a very derogatory game, but we're just the Egypts that kind of
don't get me wrong.
Our luck.
We were 2-0 up after playing pretty poor throughout the first 70 minutes. We were poor, but yet we were comfortable at 2-0.
Yes, yeah. We were making all the running though.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so much more unbelievable. You know, there was just, and you know, it was reflected in the atmosphere of the game. The atmosphere was a bit dead until we scored. It was okay after we scored for a couple of minutes, and then it died again. But I think the performance pushed, you know, into the terraces, and people couldn't warm to it.
Yeah.
But Jesus, talk about a stroke, and even with that third goal, there's a guy standing on the end of the wall. And we're told you can't stand on the end of the wall. You can't be within a meter of the wall or 2 meters or whatever it is. So there's lots of things wrong with it, but we were the masters of our own destruction.
Am I right in saying as well, did John McGinn lie behind the wall for that free kick as well? So it was when the wall jumped that the ball went over John McGinn and hit the leg as the wall jumped and went down. Like that's anyway. Look, we won't.
No, it hit Matty Target. It hit Matty Target.
Yeah, but did it not hit off his foot when he jumped? Did it? I can't remember.
No, he was aiming for the back post. Matty Target was there trying to mark the player that was standing in front of him, and Matty Target gets himself in the way and it rebounds into the net. And that there was no other touch on the ball.
Sick of it, Paddy. Sick of it. Sick of talking about it. Let's get on to Arsenal because we're going to beat Arsenal. And everyone's going to forget about it because we don't beat the teams we should beat, and then we always have these decent results against the teams we shouldn't beat. We're Aston Villa, we win when we want. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for at the moment. I think this Arsenal team are beatable. I thought the Wolves team were beatable. I thought
Wolves didn't beat us. We beat ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. But
let's not forget we had a very poor performance against Spurs as well. So. I don't go into this Arsenal game with much hope for the system we're playing. I think we're still short Traore and Bailey, and we're probably still going to be short. And that's going to be the difference in changing the game.
And it's like look, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say it like I don't want to say what do people expect, but I want to go like everyone going, why aren't we playing 4-2-3-1? We've got 2 wingers that we bought in the summer. They're injured. Well, one of them is injured. Buendia is there. Buendia doesn't start this team. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. Not for me anyway. He's been 38 million euros. He's got away with Argentina and missed the game because of it. He's been pretty lackluster in a lot of games. It was okay at the weekend, absolutely. He kept a lot of things ticking over. And I'm hoping we see more from him. But if we're a meritocracy and if we're a team of players that play because they deserve their place, does Buendia really deserve his place in that team, or is he getting his place in that team because he's 38 million quid? Like, I'm okay with him starting. I'm not hating on Buendia. I'm just talking here about building a team for the games that we have. Leon Bailey, we couldn't just magic up a winger there out of nowhere. Like Philogene Bidace, yes, you could play Philogene Bidace. I have no problem with it, but bringing him on instead of Douglas Luiz, changing the formation and expecting him to pin people back up
not a 2-0
up.
That's not going to be the case.
Exactly.
The elephant in the room is that we have the ability to switch this to a 4-2-3-1.
Exactly.
But
this is it. Yeah.
What the manager does not trust El Ghazi and Philogene Bidace. Philogene Bidace, yes, or I think El Ghazi's race is run. Otherwise, he'd be in there. So we're going to see the same system against Arsenal if we don't have Bailey and Traore. And regardless what anyone says, no matter how much training they get in this week, we're not going to see Traore and Bailey starting on Friday.
So, Paddy, you said that the manager doesn't trust El Ghazi or Philogene Bidace. Philogene Bidace probably hasn't done enough to be trusted once again. If I'm going to tar Buendia, if I'm going to tar Buendia with that brush, I'm going to have to tar Philogene Bidace, and that's absolutely fine. I slightly disagree because I don't think that it's a case that he doesn't trust those two guys. I think he feels he needs to make Watkins and things work more than it's a case of trusting the other two guys. And okay, everybody, write down the time and the date. It's 9:50 GMT on the 20th of October, Wednesday, 20th of October. I'm going to criticize Dean Smith. Dean Smith has painted himself into a corner by saying that, I don't really fancy playing Watkins out wide. He's a striker for me and he's playing out wide. So there we go. And I'm not just saying this just to say, Neil has criticized Smith. I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I think being on record as saying that as being as definite as that is a bit of a problem. It's going to be something that the papers, that people in the media, that people on social media can turn around and say, well, why did you say that so if you were going to play him out in the wing? No, why did you say it? Just like last year he was saying, listen, we don't know. We're going to have to see what the story is with Jack. And then all of a sudden he was a liar for lying about Jack's injury and the club lied to us. Why are the club lying to us? They probably weren't. He's not a doctor. He probably hadn't spoken to the doctor at that stage, just probably like he said as well. Anyway, I'm kind of gone off track in that instance there. But I think that he has, I think that that's an issue. And I think that maybe there is going to have to be, I think that's more of the point as opposed to not trusting the two guys. I think it's more of a case of he's probably saying, I need this to tick at some stage because there's a lot of money gone into these two guys. Then playing a 19-year-old out on one side, or even Buendia, because realistically he could play one striker and play Buendia on the right and play El Ghazi on the left, because that Buendia played in that right hand side for Norwich. So it can be done, and I'd actually prefer to see Buendia there. If we started against Arsenal, and if we had Watkins on the left, Buendia on the right, Ings through the centre, and went with 4-2-3-1, it'd be time for lots of celebration, I think. And
before you move off that formation, I'd just like to add that I spent the last 18 months looking forward to seeing Ollie Watkins in the flesh, right? And I've now seen him play 90 minutes twice. I see it. I've seen him play 90 minutes twice, and I wasn't impressed with his work rate. And I don't think Ollie Watkins is fit at the moment.
Could be. Could very well be.
Ings on the other hand, I was absolutely amazed at his work rate off the ball. Every time we lost the ball, he was the first man in. He was organising everybody. He was direct. He was like the composer directing the orchestra. He was brilliant. He was just organising everything the minute we lost the ball, and he was a leader on the pitch, I thought. But Ollie Watkins just looked like a fish out of water. He looked out of gas. And he had little enough effect on both games, albeit he did get a tap in against Spurs. But I think if he's a decision to make with Bailey and Traore fit, I think it's Ings that starts and Watkins misses out.
Yeah. genuinely, sack the internet provider. Sack the internet provider. Absolute nightmare from Sky. I'm sorry. Sack the internet provider. Every single time it drops whenever I'm doing a podcast.
I thought it was me. I was sitting here going, I'll just wait just in case it's not me.
No, and I wouldn't mind, but I think I had something good to say there as well. But I'm not 100% sure if it was good now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
let's go on. Let's look at some comments there, because I wasn't in the best of form before I went to do this podcast, but I am certainly not now after that drop of the internet. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I'm not down in this current formation that we have. Absolutely, I'm not down it. We need a plan B. I think this is very much our plan B when we go into certain games. Our plan A is just a small bit better. When we get the players back, our plan A, I think, will be in full force. Because I think a lot of times last year, and I've said this as well, probably over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that we were criticized for not having a plan B last year. Now we kind of do have a plan B as such. Do we know we can at least contain teams in? I know it's an oxymoron considering we gave up 3 goals in 10 minutes at the end last week, but I do think that we can contain teams using that 3-5-2 formation. But obviously, if we are going to be a bit more attacking, we're going to need to go with the more forward power in the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it. Let's go to a couple of comments here, guys. Darren says, please tell me Paddy isn't coming over for the Arsenal game. We need a win. I don't think Paddy is going for the Arsenal game, coming over this week for the Arsenal game.
Won't make a difference. Arsenal will beat us on Friday. If we continue to play the way we are, Arsenal will beat us on Friday.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, I'm back. I'm predicting Villa to win on Friday. But Tom says that it's gutting said to the lads by me in the hall to we're 2-1. Finally, nice to see us get one over them at Villa Park. Then, of course, we all know what happened. Yeah, this is an interesting one from Macadamia. It's pretty shocking that Bundia can't see out 90 minutes as a pro player. He was well rested. Yeah, I can't say that I disagree with that. Can't say I would disagree with that. I don't know whether you said knocks or anything like that. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting one for me. What else do we have here, guys? Think we're expecting too much too soon from JJ without a sense on fit. We're definitely short the senior center midfielder. I'm not putting any blame on that, on losing that 2-goal lead on JJ, nor am I doing it on Nakamba. I think the blame solely goes it goes on our back three, and to be honest with you, I think Martinez has to put up his hand and take some blame for not organising and getting caught at one post more than the other post. I think specifically for the first goal, he was right over the opposite side of his goals, and maybe there was a bit of fatigue creeping in there for someone who had travelled 12 or 14 hours on a plane the night before as well. But I'm just not sure that I'm there. I'm there with the 2 central midfield substitutions as being the reason we lost the game. Ideally, we wouldn't have lost the game, and I think even if we draw 2-2, I don't think we're talking about the 2 central midfield subs as being the reason that we drew 2-2 either, because there was the defending that was very poor. Just in my view, as I said, just in my view. Dara says that Paddy, the rules don't apply to all teams equally. I think that's fair to say.
We know that, but we can't complain that it's against Wolves. If it was against one of the big 6, we'd know exactly what is going on. But
yeah.
And to be honest, Michael, what's his name?
Oliver.
Michael Oliver?
Yeah.
Nakamba was late on a late tackle at one stage, and he kind of missed it, and the linesman pulled him up on it, and he was majorly pissed off about it. And he gave them every 50-50 after that. I was just like, fuck's sake, just keep up with the game, watch the ball, and not worry about where it's going to land. So exactly. He came back and gave them the free kick, and then every time after that the whistle was blown, he was pointing for a Wolves free.
Yeah, I think I think it's fair to say there was quite a lot of frees actually specifically in the last 10-15 minutes of the game. Yeah. Fred Red says the players' attitudes reflect Dean Smith's meek and bland. I presume that's meek and bland attitude. We're much shorter in talent than we assumed. Reminds me of the last days of Wenger. Just going to let that one hang out there. I don't agree with point 1.
Well,
I might agree with point 2, and I have no idea what point 3 means.
Well, meek and bland is an opinion. That's absolutely fine. We don't know if he's meek and bland behind closed doors. I'm guessing that he's not. I would like to see him lose his shit a little bit more. I'd like to see him go full Diego Simeone someday.
That would be nice.
And-
I do agree with that. Yeah, and I do think that's it.
And if you look at Pep Guardiola getting sent off or not getting sent off for losing the shit, and Dean Smith getting sent off for talking about juggling balls, maybe it is time for him to lose the shit on the sideline when things aren't going our way.
Do you know
but
what?
Look,
I take it back. I do. I think that is true. I would like to see maybe a small bit of not a hairdryer treatment, and I hate that phrase. I don't know why I said it, but maybe in an instance like that, maybe a berating of a fourth official or a berating of the players from the technical area once in a while mightn't go astray. So
just like Fred is saying this, so he deserves a reply. We are much shorter than we assumed, but I think that is only down due to fitness and injuries.
Yeah.
And these bloody international games that I'm sick of at this stage. And I can't wait to get these November ones out of the way so we won't see them again until March.
Yeah, and we've one more to go in November, for sure. Yeah, so I suppose on further inspection, Fred, and thanks so much for the comment, Fred. Really appreciate it. I agree with point 1. I partially agree with point 2. I still don't know what point 3 means. Reminds me of the last days of Wenger. I suppose really when Wenger was kind of going through the motions and I suppose he'd taken the team further than maybe, or as far as he probably could. Maybe he had outstayed his welcome. If that's what that means, I'm not quite sure that Dean Smith has outstayed his welcome as such. I actually think he's only getting started with this group of players because of the turnover of players. I don't think the message has got stale yet. So it's but it's actually a good point that maybe Dean Smith should start to maybe the hard man attitude. Maybe John Terry was the hard man in the back room. Maybe that was the case. Maybe there is no screamer and shouter in there anymore. It's an interesting one. Never thought of that. Actually, never ever thought of that, Fred. Good point, indeed. Soupy says we need to beat Arsenal. A match day without Piers Morgan having a meltdown is never a good day. Can't disagree.
How do we bring Piers Morgan onto our podcast? Come on, Soupy.
Yeah, if anyone can get Piers Morgan on the podcast, it would be nice. It'd be nice to chat to him. It would be nice to chat to him. Darren, yeah, I think that this is. I'm 100% behind Dean Smith, but this formation ain't working. It's okay in some games, but every game, no. Well, that's okay. He's only played it in 4 games. So, as I say, when we have a bigger sample set, I think yes, I actually agree with you. But I think once we have a bigger sample set, I'm not too annoyed about playing it at the moment. And the thing with Jack's injury last year, he's doing it again with Bailey. Bailey's had 2 separate injuries, and you know you can only go by the medical advice. You know, so we can't. I'm not a fan of ever playing injured players. I'm going to say that now. Injured and unfit players, no matter who they are or what we've paid for them, they wouldn't. For me, they don't play because an injured player or somebody who's only 75%, like if he's only 75% or 80%, he plays this weekend, he puts his hamstring again. Where are we? That'd be 3 hamstrings in the space of 6 months, and you know where are we? So I don't know enough about his injury.
There was no knock for Buendia, and Buendia's putting us up both his hand to come off the pitch. He's not fully fit either, so he shouldn't be starting. That annoyed me. Yeah, and another thing that annoyed me, the players disappeared down the tunnel, but for 4 or 5 of them after the game. They should have stood and appreciated the fans that stood there till the end because Tyrone Mings was losing his shit in the centre circle trying to get them back out.
That's interesting. And when you said that to me, I was going to come back with a big massive long text message of that doesn't fucking change the result. I was going to go nuts because it just caught me at the wrong time, man. It was only about a day afterwards. And I was thinking about it and I went, wait a minute. So Mings is the captain and they weren't coming back. You know, I don't know.
No, there was 4 or 5. There was McGinn. There was.
It was probably the leadership group probably stayed out, and the rest of them
McGinn, Watkins.
Yeah, it sounds like leadership group to me.
Martinez, I think, was still there, but the rest of them all disappeared down the tunnel. And I thought it was very bad form considering what they'd just done.
Yeah. But it does sound like Dean Smith's leadership group was out there. But look, as I say, once again, It's a small thing, but it means a lot to the fans and the people that are there, especially in a game that, Paddy, we're going to call it a derby now, even though we spent all last week saying that it wasn't a derby.
But I'm not calling it a derby because the atmosphere was flat. They never sounded like it was a derby. They never got on their players' cases, and we just spent 90 minutes. There was a guy in front of me just giving out about everybody the whole game. And then when it went to 2-1, he left the ground. And I'm like,
left?
What the hell? Like, what? Why go to a match to just lose your shit at the people around you about players on the pitch? And he was all wrong in who he was giving out about as well. So I just don't get. I just don't get why our fans go to do that. I reckon if we go to get behind them and have more of a Liverpool mentality, say from the cop, from the whole end, I think we use our energy a whole lot better than doing that, because it was, by the time the second goal went in, it was poison on the whole end, absolute poison. There was people losing their shit left, right, and centre, and rightly so. But use your energy better and get behind the team earlier, and then we might have to put up with that.
Yeah, I'm just after getting a very funny tweet there from somebody, guys. It's from Billy at AV Billy, and it's not on the thread, so that I can't pop it up here. But Billy said that when Fabrizio Romano on the podcast, when he said that Villa and Atalanta were very similar, I don't think he meant it like this. And I was kind of going, what the hell does that mean? I'm after looking at it there. Atalanta threw away a 2-goal lead and lost 3-2 to Man United. So yeah, if Atalanta can do it, and we beat United, so that means we're better than Atalanta. That's the rules. We beat United beat Atalanta, that means we're better than Atalanta. So there's a bit of positivity for today.
It just means we defend the same as Atalanta, obviously.
Well, against Man United, we defend better because we beat Man United 1-0, and we were able to we were able to close out that last 35 seconds or whatever it was after Courtney House scored. And well, I saw where's it gone to? There was a good comment there. And said that Neil is after freezing after criticizing Smith. Yeah, that's it. Actually, wait a minute. I criticized Smith live on the podcast, and next thing all of a sudden my internet went down. Coincidence?
There you go.
I let you decide. I let you all decide. Good question here from Bill Jones. Who plays number 10 if no Buendia? Well, in the 3-5-2 we don't have a 10. So, but if we
but
played,
you technically do have an 8. Well, in the 3-5-2 you don't have a 10. But
well, one of the strikers is a 10. Like you've an 10 more up top.
Who plays the 10? There's a list there you could pick. There's Bertie can play there. McGinn can push further on. Ramsey, Carney. Keep going.
Interesting one, Paddy. Where was Carney actually at the weekend? Wasn't injured. Wasn't injured.
Was he not good?
Don't think he was. Didn't play with the 23s. No, he wasn't at the squad because it was Nakamba, Ramsey, and Sanson were on the bench for midfield. Plot thickens. Maybe he was injured. Who knows?
Never even checked that one.
No, who knows? Sorry there, guys. Ad says, do you think Bailey's injuries could be like gigs of old? Always seem to stop and having to go on international duty. It's stopping him having to go with Aston Villa as well. We've only seen him in 3 substitute appearances, so it's one of those ones. But look, I think we're just unlucky with Leon Bailey. Came back from the
Gold Cup. Back unfit. He came back unfit. He was carrying an injury.
He was carrying a hamstring injury as well.
What I would like to see with Leon Bailey now is not to rush him back again. Let's get him up to full fitness, along with Sanson, and let's see if we can get like a mini preseason there for these guys, because it's needed, I think, because they just seem to be picking up silly injuries. Well, not silly injuries. He's got a great goal getting the injury, but you know what I mean. These injuries just seem to be avoidable if you're fully fit, and maybe they're not fully fit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. A small bit off topic, but I think it's something I'm really interested about. And Ashley Pre spoke about it actually in the interview that I did with him. But what do you think of the Inner City Academy being imminent and apparently starting building in the new year? Personally, I think it's one of the best things Aston Villa can do. I actually think.
Can I drop a name, Neil?
You can drop 2 if you want.
I could drop many names because I met some wonderful people at the weekend. But I actually had this conversation with Brian Little
Who's
on
he?
Saturday. Apparently, he used to play for Villa, and maybe he might have managed them at some stage. But he brought up about the Inner City Academy in the conversation, and he is very excited about it. He thinks this is a huge thing for the club, both for bringing players and getting the community involved in the club.
Yes,
so
when the community involved in the club is the big thing for me.
Yeah.
Big
so
time.
when we do eventually build that big north stand that will bring the capacity up over whatever it is, 55,000.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people around that are very interested in the club. There's going to be a whole lot of different races and creeds involved in that inner city community that will boost everything around Aston Villa, and it is going to be vital for the many years ahead. But we probably won't see the fruits of it for about 10 years, and that's Brian's words, not mine.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with it because, you know, we are like, it's a big city, Birmingham. It's a huge city, obviously, second city in the UK. There has to be talent there. You know, there is talent there because we see it in our own youth team squad at the moment.
But I think,
and we've seen it all the way up.
The number one point I took out of the conversation is there is oodles of talent there.
Yes.
But because of being inner city and having nowhere to go, that talent is just getting pushed to the side. So now they will have a huge catchment area to go and exploit that, get all the schools in there playing in that academy, and knowing exactly what's available, and they can bring on and nurture these players.
There was something as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could have dreamt this, and I do apologize. But I'm not the most au fait with the bus routes of the Greater Birmingham area. So please do not kill me if I get this wrong. But bus routes out to Bodymore Heath are not the easiest. Yet that's why a lot of inner city kids and kids from in and around, I suppose, the Birmingham City area, were not even going to play with Birmingham. They're actually going to play with West Brom, and they were going kind of that direction. I don't know. I remember reading it somewhere, and but once again, my local transport geographical kind of know-how of public transport within the Greater Birmingham area is not what it should be. I do admit. So having that in our base will obviously have that catchment area. And look, another great thing is kids are going to be coming to that academy and training in the shadow of Villa Park. So if there's one way to indoctrinate a kid or indoctrinate people into Aston Villa, it's to have that happening. And as you say, whoever wins the locals' hearts and gets people from in and around the area to come and support their club wins the day, because it's all about capacities, it's all about getting greater money, it's all about getting greater crowds there, keeping the team in the Premier League. And the more, we've said this before, you'll always get behind your own. You know, you'll always remember your own. You'll always get behind your own, and long may it continue that we continue to do that. So it's just that was just a side piece there with regards to the inner city stadium. We've spoken very little about the actual Arsenal game itself, Paddy. We've got about 7 minutes left. Talk to me about Arsenal. You aren't as and look, I know that recent evidence would have everybody believe that, you know, we were going to need to play above our station to win this game on Friday night. But talk to me about it. What's your opinion on it?
I think the only saving grace for us this week is we have 2 more days to recover than Arsenal do. They had a tough game, ground out a draw against Crystal Palace on Monday night.
Yeah,
They go again on Friday. So, not that I give a shiny shite about what they have to do. So hopefully that 48 extra hours recovery. And I think I heard Ashley Priest on something today saying our players were back in Sunday. So I don't know whether that was just for a recovery session or what it was, but our players were back in Sunday. So maybe they were back in to prepare for Friday. But you know, I'm not hopeful in any way for Friday. I'm just a bit sour after the last 2 games. It didn't work. We fell apart. So I'm just negative at the moment, which, you know, is most unlike me. But I wanted to walk out of Villa Park on Friday and get back on the flight and go home. But thankfully, I managed to stick around and have a few points with some good lads that I've met over the years. So that cheered me up a little bit. But you know, I would like to see some kind of change. I don't want to see the 5 at the back again, because it just invites. I'm going to say poorer teams. I don't believe Arsenal are a poor team, but I think Wolves are a poor team, and invite it onto us as we got tired at the weekend. So that's my fear.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a small bit more optimistic. Arsenal are back to the old 1-0 to the Arsenal. But obviously when they're not drawn 2-2 with Crystal Palace, they're back to kind of the 1-0 to the Arsenal. That's the way their wins have come this season. We talk about not being able to play Watkins and Ings up front. They're having difficulty playing Aubameyang, Lacazette up front, so much so that they are going to 4-2-3-1 more and more so now to fit them into the team.
Yeah.
Emile Smith-Rowe is playing very well for them. I like the look of that Lokanga guy that they signed from Anderlecht, I'm going to say, in the summer. I like the look of him. He's still not fully acclimatized to the Premier League, but I think he's a nice player. Ben White I like him as a player, as a centre half. Would I've paid 50-60 million for him? I'm not quite sure, but it's not that's not the point with him. He's doing a decent job back there, and himself and Gabriel have a decent enough combination back there as well. And look, Ramsdale is playing well in goals for them as well. You know, so they've made some decent signings this season. In Ben White, Ramsdale, Lokanga, so I say, and a couple of more, but. I think I think Saka is going to be a huge loss for them if he is out. I think that I think for me he's very much a danger man, and I think that if we do I think we need Matty Cash for this game at the weekend. He's doubtful with a dead leg. I think he's going to be okay. I think we badly need Matty Cash. You know, whatever
we badly need Matty Cash because of the attacking prowess of Kieran Tierney when he
That's
gets
exactly it. You read my mind because of Kieran Tierney.
And on the opposite side, and this is why I would love to see wingers in action, because Tomiyasu, is that how you say his name? The new right back. He looked like a rabbit in the headlights on Monday night. I think he can be got at, definitely. But who are we going to put out there to go at him? I have no idea. I can't see Matt Target getting that far forward and running at him.
And look, I suppose it all does depend on what we play. You know, what formation we play. If we change it up, do we play the El Ghazi? Do we play Philippine Perez? It all goes to show. Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. Look, it's going to be interesting, and that's why I'm kind of shying away with saying because I'm kind of gotten to the stage now. What I want to play and what we will play are going to be two different things. I'm not as down on the 3-5-2 as a lot of people are. I think going to Arsenal and going to London on a Friday night, I don't think he changes it. I just want us to see, like, if Watkins and Ings aren't working, I want Watkins peeled out to the right. I want Buendia Watkins peeled out to the left, Buendia peeled out to the right. And maybe if you are playing a two in Zebe there, move him up into a defensive midfielder role, and then see what push begin up into a number 10 role, and see if we can go 4-2-3-1 and see what happens there. But just being a small bit more fluid in transitions, I think, would be an awful lot easier. As I say, Watkins and Ings need to start playing well together. They can't be playing like they stand right down on top of each other an awful lot of the time, and they break. And I understand it's like an I formation where the two of them play together, and then they break, and it makes it difficult for centre halves to figure out where they're going. But what happens is sometimes they end up them being too far apart when one of them gets the ball, and they're isolated. And with the fullback situation, if they're isolated, that means they have to come back with the ball. Then the ball has to be recycled out to the fullback, and then the fullback has to almost restart the attack again. So it's very difficult to counter attack when you're playing that wing back situation, when your two strikers are stuck together at the top, because you have to come back to go forward once more. And it just gives teams like a Wolves time to get reset again. And we don't, like, I know Ings got a header at the weekend, but like crossing the ball into Watkins and Ings is very much a 50-50 ball. Ings' header was an absolute blinder. That header was very difficult at the weekend, but he didn't have to break stride, and it was behind him. The cross was behind him from again, but he didn't break stride, and he didn't have to really leave the ground at all. But when we get into a situation where they have to leave the ground and get above defenders, I don't really hold out much hope in the air for either of them from that point of view. And that's okay because they're both of them only 5'10", 5'11". You know, they're not giants, and heading isn't their strong point. I want to see us get more to spread the strikers out, play more through balls. I'm a huge fan of playing the ball down the side of a defender, try and get it into that little corridor in the half space between the fullback and the centre half. And that's why I like playing the three at the back, because it kind of limits the amount of time if your fullbacks can get back into defensive setup. It limits the amount of balls that we play down the side. Yes, it does invite people on to cross in a ball, and then you do end up giving away more frees and crossball positions out wide, like we did against Wolves, and that's conceding those first two goals specifically, came from situations like that. But that's kind of what I want to see. I'm not going to make any predictions about the team itself, but I just like to see more through balls, less reliance on having to cross the ball, less slow build up in our attack. I prefer to see us go for a high octane stuff like we were doing at the start of the season, albeit with lesser results, and also the way that we played a small bit last season. And I don't really care if we do that in a 3-5-2 or in a 3-5-2 or 4-2-3-1. I don't really care about what the formation is. It's just the distribution of the ball, and probably for me, the way that the spacing of our strikers for me is probably the more the thing that I would like to see changed and tweaked more so than a full formational change. I think we can still get that out of the 3-5-2.
Just it's probably going to go off screen there. Ad makes a good comment about if Matty Cash is out at the weekend, that we play Axel or Konza at right back. So that I meant to say that earlier on. That would have been ideal for what happened at the weekend. We bring in Courtney House and play one of them at right back. But hindsight is 2020, as you say, Neil. And it doesn't mean we go for it at the back. I think it's comment to follow that to say that it'll be Courtney House come back in, and it'll probably be Axel maybe at right back.
This is an interesting one from Fred Red. I really like Diamond 4-4-2 formation. It's essentially a lot of time last year we played something similar to that when Barkley was in the team. We played something very similar to that because Barkley would push up and almost be another striker. Douglas Luiz would hang back and McGinn would patrol the right-hand side of the field, and then we would have, I can't remember, over on the other side of the field.
Bailey.
But no, in last year's setup, 4-2-3-1. I can't remember who, maybe Algazi or someone like that in the left-hand side. So we would have actually played like that sometimes with Ross Barkley last season. And Ross Barkley would have almost been like a second striker, being a 4-4 in a 4-4-2 formation. So yeah, and a very interesting one. Once again, I'm not caught up on the actual names of formations because I think a lot of formations are fluid at the moment. And when you see the average positions of players, you tend to kind of see where players kind of spread out a small bit, but it's an interesting one, and I definitely would entertain it, because I suppose the one down point of that is, and it's something that we saw last year, is if you do play a 4-4-2 and you play a diamond in the middle, you just give up the whole center circle and you can become very passive. So you really have, you have to have a rock of a defensive midfielder there who can't move at all. I think to be able to play that, but. We know that it can work for sure. Good point. So, Paddy, really? Well, come on, Carl. How did I forget that? See, out of sight, out of mind. I didn't.
Hey, if he was actually fit.
Yeah, Joe would have been on the left wing. Exactly. How did I forget? It was almost like I was doing it on purpose. I can assure you I wasn't doing that on purpose. I just had a brain fart. Paddy, go on, nail your colours to the mast. What's the result going to be at the weekend?
I can't see us getting anything out of this. I think we'll put up a gallant fight, but I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Sorry for the negativity. Just last weekend, it scared me now from this stage.
So, the last 3 times that Aston Villa have played against Arsenal, and this is just what kind of goes around my mind. So we kind of have their number at the moment. And we had their number last season when we weren't playing exactly very well. And we had their number when we were playing really well last season. But the last 3 matches we played them, we've been winning at both halftime and full time. And we've obviously won both of those 3 games as well. But then again, Arsenal are on a great run of form at the moment. I don't think they've lost in 4 or 5 games in the Premier League so far. So they're a bit more up there. I'm going to go with 2-2 draw. I know I said previously, spoiler alert, I was going to say that Villa were going to win. But the more I think about it, the more I don't like Matty Cash is there. I think we're in a better position to win. If Matty Cash isn't there, I think we'll be very much contained mode. I do think we're going to score goals against Arsenal. I think we could. I think this could be the night we see Ings and Watkins go off, or I think we could see a goal from midfield.
And I'd be a lot more optimistic if we were looking at having Bertrand Traore and Bailey there, because I think we could destroy them in those channels. Yeah, definitely. I think that right full could be got at. I think the centre half, Gabriel, is it? Yeah, I think he's the weaker of the 2 centre halves. I like Ben White, so he can be got at. But we just haven't got the firepower up there at the moment. So I'm hope they'll prove me wrong. But apologies for the negativity tonight.
And it's, look, based on what we know, I think I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. But I'm going to reserve the right to change my tune during the team sheet tantrum once I see who's on the team.
And I totally agree with you. If we know Xhaka and Saka.
Xhaka, the Akas.
That's a bit of a rhyme there, isn't it? Yeah. The 2 of them are potentially out. So we don't know what way they're going to line up. So that could change come Friday, depending on who we have in our starting team too.
Yeah, exactly. Couple of predictions. 1-1 from Anne in there. David Ward says 1-1. James Breen says 1-1. 1-1 seems to be a popular one. Carl says you're too negative, Paddy. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Villa. We've beaten them 4 times in the Spain. It would be good, and we do seem to be their bogey team. And Ad says he's not going to jinx it, but we need a response. I think that's fair enough. I think we need a response. We can't, to lose 3 games in a row is not good. No. We need to break it. But even with a draw or something, I think we need to break that, because last week's one is a bit of a gut punch, and I think we need to at least stabilize. And as Paddy said, and as we've said as well, stabilize maybe without Bertrand Traore and Leon Bailey, and then see what can happen then from there on out, because it's okay to do that. I think an away game at Arsenal, lads, to come away with a 1-1 draw, down attacking players like Traore and Bailey, that ain't bad. That is not bad. That is not bad at all. As I say, giveaway time. Yes, James, we did the draw beforehand, and I never got a video of it, but my better half, who is parked on the couch downstairs, did the draw for me beforehand. We had 83 people requoted. Just in case you guys don't know what it is, 83 people tweet quoted, whatever it is, a picture of a whole doll bag, and we had a winner. And a winner was drawn out here. I have it written on a piece of paper here. It's Caelan Healy, 1998, at Caelan Healy, 1998. I feel like a guy in an old parish hall in Ireland back in the 50s. Do we have a Caelan Healy, 1998 in the audience? Caelan Healy is the winner of the whole doll bag. I'm going to pop it up on Twitter, guys. And I am going to, and if Caelan sees it, she can DM me any of her contact details, and we can get her over that bag. Thanks very much, everybody, for entering. It was a bit of crack to try and raise the mood. It was a tough Sunday, and
we've another. We won't give away what the prize is, but we've another prize from an ex-Villa player to go out in the next few days. So keep an eye on it.
Exactly, we might do that. I don't know when we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it after the Arsenal game, or maybe we might wait until closer to the next international break and do it. But yeah, that's an interesting prize as well. But thanks everybody, as I say, and thanks everybody for all the crack we've had over the last couple of days. I posted a thing on Twitter with Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Did anyone see that? Did anyone see the dressing gown he had on? I'd pay good money for that dressing gown. In fact, so much so that I got onto a guy I know that does the sportswear and does the sports goods, and I said, any chance you rattle off a couple of Villa dressing gowns? People will buy them. They go like hotcakes. But unfortunately,
good time of the year for them
to do it. Absolutely, yeah. I had my thinking of my Christmas hat on there. But it was it was a fantastic dressing gown. And if Alfonso Ribeiro is watching this, if you still have that in your props drawer or whatever, I'd love it. You can DM me. I'll give you my details to send it over. We're going to leave it at that, guys. 55 minutes coming up. We will be back. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of things, a lot of cogs working in the background. We may not be able to do a team sheet tantrum this Friday. We hope to, as always, but there may be something that's very much out of my control that may happen between now and then, which may render me unable to do a team sheet tantrum. But
if that happens, I might have a crack off it on my own. We'll see how we go.
Do absolutely, yeah. As I say, because I don't think I'll even be able to watch the team sheet tantrum if I'm not able to go on it. But maybe I'm the bad egg. Maybe I'm the bad luck bear. Maybe it's because of me that the Villa are losing, because I may not even be able to watch the match. But we will be back, as I say. We will plan for a team sheet tantrum on Friday at what time, Paddy? 10 to 7. It's an 8 o'clock kick,
yeah,
isn't it?
10 to 7, yeah.
10 to 7 on Friday, and we'll be back with a team sheet tantrum. And you know what? It's going to be one of my more looked forward to team sheets, I think, of the year, because it's going to have a big bearing on how the game goes. But thanks so much, everybody. Congratulations once again to Caelan Healy 1998 at Caelan Healy 1998 on Twitter as well. You have won the Aston Villa Hold All. As I say, everybody stay safe between now and then. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
And I forgot my outro.